Hey guys, thank you for being here today. This is Samrat here for Prudent Light, bringing you this audio presentation. And special thanks to my friends Shivam Oza and Prachi Kale for helping me make this presentation better. Let's begin. We often feel pleased listening to the stories of devotees. Many a times in these stories, there are no logical debates or discussions. But still, somehow, it touches our conscience, making us feel a strange bliss. Probably because, instead of having regular consequences, in these stories we often come across something unique or surprising. We always wish that such surprises happen in our lives too. But somewhere, deep down, we know it's never going to happen. And often, through these stories of saints and devotees, we see our desires coming to life. Such was the life of Saint Chokhamela, who indeed realized what we can only imagine. Once on Ekadashi, with all the other saints and devotees, Chokhamela too, with his family, had set on a journey to the worldly Vaikuntha. Reaching Pandharpur, standing outside the temple of Panduranga, even though he could not take darshan from a very close proximity, but he still got entangled in Lord Panduranga's blissful affection. He told his wife, decided, we from now on will reside here in Pandharpur. To avoid offending anyone, at Chandrabhaga, going far from people's sight, he used to every day take bath. Then, coming to the Mahadwar, by installing Vitthalla in his mind and heart, he used to bow down to the Lord of the universe. Even though, he being a Shudra, he was not allowed to enter the temple premises. But still, his actions were making the Orthodox people very uneasy. They used to taunt him and say, "Arey, you fool! If Panduranga wished you should be inside the temple, then he would have himself taken you inside. Why are you lingering around and coming in our way?" Further suppressing the poor guy with their philosophy, they said, "Arey, short-lived, even if you struggle for the rest of your life, still you would never receive the grace of God. The likes of you will never have Lord's vision. So why are you unnecessarily bowing down to him, Chokhya?" These remarks would hurt Chokhamela. But still, very humbly, Chokhamela would reply, "Revered gentlemen, Lord coming to me and himself taking me inside the temple. Why such a miracle is needed?" He further remarks, giving a serious blow to the egos of those so-called high-headed aristocrats. "O learned men, my Vitthalla, even from that distance, keeps a kind sight over me." Now Chokhamela questions the fellow gentlemen gathered there with a hint of sarcasm. Even if one stays around Panduranga continuously for 24 hours every day, but his heart doesn't long for his grace, if there is no compassion for the Lord, even worse, if the mind is not thinking of him, then, revered gentlemen, what's the use of staying around him? Now feeling ashamed of their behavior, those Orthodox people started telling each other, "Oh, come on, let's move fast. We don't have so much time for such stupid discussions. There is so much work left to do." One night, the miracle happened. Pandharinath himself came to Chokhamela's house. Before Chokhamela could realize everything completely, Lord told the confused and overwhelmed Chokhamela, "Come with me, I will take you to the temple." And in no time both were inside the temple. Then Vitthalla, with absolute compassion, expressed his feelings. "Arey Chokha, every morning I see you standing outside the Mahadwar. There is not a single moment when I don't think of you. While having the Naivedya, I get choked. While drinking water, I get hiccups. And that's all because of your remembrance." Chokhamela was listening to all this with absolute astonishment. What can he say? With tears in his eyes, he touched Vithoba's feet and could only say, "O Vitthalla, my master, you are the real savior of the poor, the lost, and the ignorant." In the meantime, a temple priest who was present outside the main chamber heard their conversation. He couldn't recognize Panduranga's voice, but definitely identified Chokhamela's voice. Even though the door was firmly locked, with all the locks and latches in place, Chokhamela had sneaked in the main chamber of the temple. He rushed to give this news to the other priests of the temple, and in no time they all gathered, opened the door. To their surprise, Chokhamela was actually standing there inside, sobbing with his hands folded, and then started the questioning. How did you unlock the door? How did you get in? Were you hiding inside when we were locking the chamber? Chokhamela pleaded to them with folded hands. Please listen to me. It was not my will. Panduranga himself caught my hand and brought me here. Please let me go. I beg of you people. As he started to walk away, the priest party exclaimed, You go now, but we shouldn't see you in Pandharpur again. If you stayed back, as you said, Panduranga will bring you inside the temple every day. Get lost. Don't give your impurities to our Vitthalla. Don't give your impurities. Listening to this, Chokhamela was hurt. He said, Maharaj, Shudra and Brahmin both bathe in the same Ganga. Does the mighty Ganga gets polluted? If the wind blows over the wicked, does the wind starts behaving wicked? Whether it touches the wicked or the virtuous, its characteristics never change. My Panduranga too considers all castes and creed equal. My Panduranga is constant, never changing. Listening to this solid argument of Chokhamela, the priests got further annoyed and said, Don't teach us Brahmagyan. Chal, get lost, quick. Chokhamela, in a state of hopeless despair, returned home. The next day, as instructed by the priests, Chokhamela carried all his belongings and shifted across the river. But wherever he went, wherever he stayed, he would always sing Lord's glory. Every day, thinking of Vitthalla, singing Harinam, he would stay in an elevated mood. Then, after a few days, he erected a lamp tower that was facing the temple. Once, when Chokhamela was sitting for his lunch, suddenly from nowhere Panduranga appeared in front of him. Chokhamela felt ecstatic. He informed his wife. She too couldn't believe herself. They felt so elevated. Knowing that Vitthalla was going to have lunch with them, even Deepavali seemed meaningless. From where would they get delicacies for Lord? But they started serving whatever bhakri, amti and yogurt they had at home. As both sat to eat, chatting between the Lord and the disciple was on. From a distance, a priest was watching Chokhamela, having his lunch and his wife serving him. While serving, Chokhamela's wife must have spilled some yogurt, cause Chokha exclaimed, Arey, please be careful. Today, Pandharinath Maharaj is having lunch with us and you spilled yogurt on his expensive pitambar. After a while, looking at a crow sitting on the tree, he says, Oh Kakba, what are you doing? Eat your lemon carefully. Don't drop it down on Lord's platter. Saying so, he picked up the half-eaten lemon and threw it aside. The priest, hearing all this, got really irritated. He walks up to Chokhamela and says with a fit of rage, What is this nonsense you are uttering? Be careful, don't spill yogurt on Vitthala's expensive pitambar. And what you were instructing the crow? Don't drop the half-eaten lemon on Lord's platter. What are you up to? I know, seeing me you are doing this. just to ridicule me. Leaning over Chokhamela, he said, "What is this whole smoke of hypocrisy you are creating? What Vithoba and his Pitambar, and talking to the crow like an eccentric?" Saying so, the priest went ahead and gave one tight slap across Chokhamela's face. Chokhamela fell back, with his hand on his cheek, distressed and afraid. Further threatening Chokhamela, the priest, while leaving, said, "Stop this drama immediately." Then the priest crossed the river and reached the Vitthalla temple. The priest entered the temple and straight went to the main chamber. And to his surprise, other 2 to 3 priests who were present there were quiet and watching helplessly at the deity. And when he looked at the deity, he couldn't believe his eyes. His world was falling apart. He felt like burying himself then and there. He could clearly see Vithoba's cheeks were swollen, and he could also see traces of yogurt on Vithoba's Pitambar. Seeing all this, he got terrified. He turned and rushed to Chokhamela, and other priests too followed him. Now, falling on the ground with his hands folded, the priest looked apologetically at Chokhamela and said, "Chokhoba." Now, this time he did not say Chokhya. "Please forgive me. I mocked you and your devotional feelings. Please come with us to the temple and explain Vitthalla everything." With tears in his eyes, he pleaded, save me, Chokhoba." Chokhoba replied, "My place is outside the temple, and now you have even thrown me out of the village. You think Vithoba will listen to me? You all are Brahmagyani people, and I am the lowest of the low. Don't expect Vithoba to listen to me." All present there requested Chokhoba to come to the temple with them. Looking at the priest's plight, Chokhoba finally got convinced. Entering the main chamber, Chokhoba saw the cheeks of Vithoba was so puffed that one eye had got completely shut. Seeing this condition of Vithoba, Chokhoba started sobbing, keeping his head over Vithoba's feet. He spoke in his mind, addressing Vithoba, "O Lord Panduranga, Vitthalla, my Baba. Are, for an insignificant person like me, the lowest of the low, you took my share of beatings and wounds on yourself. You suffered for me." Crying out loud, "Vitthalla, Panduranga," he moved his hand over Vithoba's cheeks with affection. Soon Vithoba's cheeks became normal again. Vithoba was again back to his previous splendor. His striking appearance filled all with bliss. Chokhoba and everyone around him started singing the praise of Lord. They all got intoxicated by the devotion of Vitthalla. They all sang, "Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare." The whole place got blissful and started vibrating with Vitthala's name. बोला पुंडलिक वरदा हरी विठ्ठल, श्री ज्ञानदेव तुकाराम, बोला पंढरीनाथ महाराज की जय.